You're listening to Seattle Real Estate Podcast.
Judge issues nationwide injunction against Biden's vaccination mandate for federal contractors. Now, we've mandated the vaccine for just about every possible group that's out there, right? I mean, it feels that way. I know it's not exactly that. That's not exactly the case. But we've just had vaccine mandates left and right, and then now we're having them get basically put on hold pending further legislation or pending further, decisions made by court systems. Here we are. This time it's federal contractors. All right, let's jump on into it. Before we do, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Sean Reynolds. I own a couple of real estate companies, and I read the news from that perspective. All right, here we go. Federal judge on Tuesday issued a nationwide injunction against a vaccine mandate for federal contractors, ruling that President Joe Biden probably exceeded his authority by imposing the requirement. So many of these injunctions have been based upon, I'm not really seeing that as being something within the powers that the government has right now. A vaccine mandate? Not so much. And then we just put a hold on it. We've got so much of this back and forth. And this is in a time period where you've got a labor shortage going on. That's the approach I take from a lot of this is, all right, how's this impact the economy? Yet another vaccine mandate? Not good. Not good. The health consideration? All right, you've got that argument. It's like, okay, if people want to get vaxxed, I think they will. And to force people to do this in order to keep their occupation, in order to keep their livelihood, in order to keep food on the table for their families, I am not down with that. I'm a hard no-go. People got to be able to make that decision on their own, and they shouldn't have to be forced to make that decision one way or the other based on their occupation, their livelihoods. Judge R. Stan Baker, who is based in Georgia, temporarily blocked implementation of the administration after a lawsuit from numerous states and trade groups argued that letting the mandate take effect on January 4th would cause irreparable injury to workers who could be forced out of their jobs. The judge wrote that allowing the rule to move forward would force plaintiffs to comply with the mandate, requiring them to make decisions which would significantly alter their ability to perform federal contract, which is critical to their operations. Yeah, you're not vaxxed up? Okay, yeah, you're a no-go. You're a hard no-go. And the judge said, no, that's not what we're doing today. We're gonna tap the brakes on this bad boy mandate, and we'll just have to see how it goes. The court setback is the latest in a string of rulings hampering the administration's efforts to force more people to get vaccinated against the coronavirus. So many folks I talk to, they see these headlines that Biden proposes this, or, the administration is doing this mandate, they're doing that mandate. And people get it in their heads that this has been implemented and it's a go and it's a thing. A lot of times, these vaccinations mandates, before they even get implemented, they're basically brought to their knees in the court system, right? A judge says, no. And so I think a lot of folks don't really understand that there are legal, there are legal roadblocks to so many of these that you really got to follow what's going on. Say if you're an employee at a company, and I think a lot of what happens is people are employees, however they're employed. Maybe they're employed by the state government and they follow that mandate, or they're an employee at a company with over 100 employees. And they figure, okay, I've seen that in the news. I got to be vaccinated. Well, unless your employer tells you specifically you've got to be, it's not mandated, right? I mean, that mandate hasn't gone into effect. And so unless you follow along on all these mandates, you don't really know. And I think a lot of people just assume, I got to go get the shot. I know county and state workers, they follow these things very closely because they have been mandated. And in a lot of areas, especially here in Washington, people are losing their jobs. People are quitting. People are transferring out. I don't know exactly the actual numbers. It's not a ton, but it's a percentage at a time when the workforce can't really afford that. And if you're at a job that might be slightly lower paying, state, a state worker or something along those lines, county, if you're working one of those jobs and a big portion of your income is the benefits, there's a lot of jobs out there that probably pay more, that people are going to be attracted to more. So what's going to happen to the quality of employees at all these institutions that have let folks go? Who are they going to hire? They're going to be competing with other higher paying jobs in the private sector. That's not going to work so well. So that's one of the byproducts I think that we're going to see, is that our governmental workers in a lot of these entities, it's going to be tough because you're competing with private sector, which oftentimes arguably pays more or has better opportunities, whatever. And the big thing you work for a governmental entity is the benefits, right? I mean, that's just how this goes. So I guess pay attention if you're still considering getting the vaccine. Know exactly what you're up against. I find this a lot in conversation with younger folks who just assume they see a headline and they just assume they need to be vaccinated without talking to either the owner of the company or talking to their HR manager, or maybe they're working in a small firm and they're like, but I heard that this group had to get vaccinated, so I just did it. And it's like, okay, but you probably didn't need to. And if that's a consideration, you need to dig into it a little bit more, as we're going to right now. And this is specifically on contractors, governmental contractors, right? Last week, 2 different judges temporarily blocked separate mandates requiring millions of workers to get vaccinated against COVID-19. A federal judge in Louisiana halted the Center for Medical and Medicaid Services from enforcing its mandate for healthcare workers, while a federal judge in Kentucky issued an order blocking the administration from enforcing the requirement for government contractors in 3 states. So we've got government contractors in 3 states. We've got Medicare, Medicaid services. That mandate has been put on hold or blocked. And now we've got nationwide governmental contractors, no go. Yep, that vaccine mandate is, we're tapping the brakes. In early November, a federal appeals court issued a stay freezing the administration's efforts to require workers at U.S. companies with at least 100 employees to be vaccinated. So we covered that one. And yeah, it is what it is. That one to me was like, if that vaccine mandate doesn't get a hold put on it, man, I don't know. So many of these mandates are just, they're not in place. They came and now they're put on hold, right? The ruling by Baker, who was nominated to the court by President Donald Trump, found that the plaintiffs in his case are likely to prevail on their argument that Biden exceeded his authority with an executive order in September that set in motion the mandate. You simply don't have, the court systems and judges are saying, I don't think you have the ability within your governmental powers to put in a mandate of that magnitude. You don't have it. It's kind of like, in what I always refer to is the whole, when Biden was kind of looking around going, oh man, people are hammering on me because the whole eviction moratorium, that's gonna go away. And he basically said to the CDC, can you throw out a vaccine mandate? Or, I mean, not a vaccine mandate. Tristan, if you can cut that part and we'll go with. And so Biden basically asked the CDC to throw out an eviction, and not throw out, but put one out there. CDC is going to mandate that the eviction moratorium for tenants who can't pay is going to just keep getting extended out who knows how long, indefinitely it felt like. And basically came down to the court system said, yeah, no, you don't have the ability to put that in place. The eviction moratorium, yeah, that's not legal. That's beyond your powers. So, we've just got these mandates left and right, all to do with the coronavirus, that are being basically just put on hold. Just like, no. The judge's order was based on the president's economic powers under the Procurement Act. All right. So there's varying levels of, why these things are not being implemented. Like when the dates come, they're actually a thing, right? And in so many of these things, who's gonna oversee enactment? I mean, a lot of it to me is just, it's basically, it's threats to get people to get the jab, right? I mean, that's what we're doing here. While the Procurement Act explicitly and unquestionably bestows some authority upon the president, the court is unconvinced at this stage of litigation that it authorized him to direct the types of actions at issue in the case. In its practical application, the executive order goes beyond the administration and management of procurement and contracting and operates as a regulation of public health. So we're talking about the government's ability to put a mandate in place on governmental contractors. And this judge is just like, practical application goes beyond the administration, management of procurements and contracting. You don't have the right to do that. Next. That's kind of literally what's going on. A spokesperson for the Justice Department declined to comment on the ruling. Interesting. Yeah, at this point in time, we have no comment. That's what we've been saying after all the other mandates. No comment. Asked about the judge's order on Tuesday, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said the Justice Department will vigorously defend this in court. Really? Okay. Well, if you say so, I guess. All right. South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson, a Republican whose state is one of the plaintiffs in the case, hailed the judge's ruling. Abuse of power by the Biden administration has been stopped cold again. That's what we're seeing again and again. These mandates are, that's a no-go. We're not doing that. The rule of law has prevailed and liberty is protected. I love those kind of statements. It's like, okay, we're extrapolating a little bit here, but yeah, it's true. So many of these mandates, you're like, what? We're doing what? And at one point in time, the current administration came right out and said, yeah, we're not in favor of vaccine mandates. And then things changed, right? And now we're doing podcasts on one vaccination mandate after another that's getting the brakes pumped on it, right? So yeah, another vaccine mandate that has basically been put on hold. How many is that now? It's a bunch, right? At the beginning, I think everybody was thinking, there's no basis for that to be mandated in these millions upon millions of people, employee groups, right? And there's no way that's going to happen. And then goes to court. And for the most part, we've seen federal mandate after federal mandate. Some of the entities that, obviously the entities that the government can control, that, under the government's power, those vaccine mandates, those basically were just a done deal right from the get-go, right? But these other mandates on public or private employees at big companies, private employees at smaller companies. I just talked yesterday in length here about the New York City, Bill de Blasio's mandate that basically everybody that's working get vaccinated. I mean, he's going to put that in place December 27th, the Monday after Christmas. Christmas Eve falls on a Friday, I think, and Christmas falls on a Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday, he's got a vaccine mandate for basically all employees in New York City. I mean, that gives them 3 weeks essentially to get that all squared away. And I mean, what a shocking thing for the folks of New York City. That's just shocking. We've literally got these other, cases just going sideways, left and right on the vaccine mandates. And yet you've got Bill de Blasio, who's out of there as, elected official as of January 1st. And he's just going to throw this thing on the people of New York City and just, it's his final hurrah, right? I mean, it's his parting shot. Yeah, we're going to do this. I don't really care. I'm out of here. It's happening. So yeah, we're just going to have to battle through all these mandates one by one. And what kills me is that such big percentages of some of these areas, like New York City, had an enormous vaccine percent of its folks vaccinated, just the population in general. So how far are we going to push this with these mandates? I mean, at what point do you say, all right, probably squeezed as much blood out of that rock as we can, time to move on? I don't know. I mean, and with the way these court cases are going, you know, it makes you wonder, all right, how much longer can we continue this charade that this is really helping the economy? The argument that these vaccine mandates are helping things out, and that's why things are getting better, and that's why the unemployment number, an unemployment stat comes out and everybody's like, oh, it's because of the vaccine mandates. It's like, no, that kind of hurts things. And when you shut the economy down, that hurts things. So you've got so much stuff out there that you're like, what is going on? It's crazy, right? All right. But we do know on this one, federal contractors, for now, looks like you're off the hook. Don't you think pretty much everybody's gotten the jab that wants to get it? They've been jabbed probably twice. People are even getting, they're getting their booster. Some people are running out to do that. Some people are running out to have their children vaccinated. That's their call. And if you want to be in that camp, that's great. But if you're in the other camp and you don't want to, I kind of think that's a medical decision. And employment of any kind shouldn't be predicated upon being vaccinated. But, we've got vaccines for other things. And the argument is made that, I don't want to be around somebody who's unvaxxed. Okay. All right. Long haul truckers. That's the one that kills me. People that sit in their truck by themselves for hours and hours and hours on that. You got to be vaccinated. You're crossing state borders. All right. By yourself in a vehicle outside. It's nutty, right? But that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with some stuff that doesn't make any sense at all. And yet some of these folks seem to think this is a really good call. Okay, that's it for me on this one. I know it's a short one, but there's only so many which ways we can beat these. We can, beat up the vaccination mandates that aren't happening. But I wanted to share this one with you because I think it's an important one, and each one is important because I think it's a step in the right direction of getting away from these vaccination mandates that, the judges are basically saying, yeah, don't have the authority to do that. So there you go. There you go. Now you got it. All right. Thanks so much for being part of the Seattle Real Estate Podcast. I will catch up with you soon. Until then, stay safe. We'll talk again. Bye for now.